Shalom. I'd like to say all praise is due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Akakwadash. Double honor to the apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessing to the elect out there. My name's Kanawak. Doing this lesson. Alright, this is going to be in regards to the Sephardic Jews and the Marranos and the Iberian Jews. Alright, the same thing pretty much. I'm just going to do a brief overview. Right, the Sephardic Jews were basically from 70 AD, where the fall of Jerusalem. A lot of the Jews went to a lot of them went to North Africa, known as the word slipping my tongue. Carthage. A lot of Jews went to Carthage, and vice versa. Right, and basically you had Hannibal Barca and his son Hannibal Lecter, or whatever his name was, right? And he was fighting, like there were Jews that were fighting against the Roman Empire, all right? And basically Hannibal was he tried to conquer the Roman Empire, but he was defeated, right? And eventually the Roman Empire fell, right? You had the 5 good emperors. Then you had basically like Septimius Severus that came to power. And then the Constantine the Great during the 300s that established the whole Roman Catholic Church with that whole Christianity, with that whole Sunday worship and all that. But this is just a short overview. This is the Sephardic Jews. Sephardic Jews, known as Yadush Sarif, Jews of Spain, Landino, also known as Sephardic Jews or Sephardim, as early as Iberian Peninsula Jews, right? So the word Iber or Ibar, it means past, of the past, right? Let me get that. Eber, the same thing. Genesis 10 and 21. Eber, Salakia. Genesis 10, okay. It's not allowing me. Genesis 10. Because it goes into the Shem. Shem means name. And that was the line that came out after the flood. Right? They had the Shemites, but there's a chosen of a Shem, because there's you have the Shemites, which are you so-called you Indians. They're known as let me go into it. Elam, right, which means young, right? You East Indians. The Assyrians, they are Shemites as well. All right, and you have Moabites that are Shemites, and you Ishmaelites, they are Shemites as well. But there's a chosen line of the Shem, right? So this Genesis 10 and 22, the children of Shem, right? Shem, which means name, Elam, which are the so-called Indians, and Ashur, Assyrians, and Arphaxad, and Lud, and Aram, right, which is Syria. The children of Aram, Uz, and Hula, Gizal, Eber, and Arphaxad begat Salah, and Salah begat Eber. So that was the chosen line, right? And unto Eber was born 2 sons. The one name was Peleg. For his days was the earth divided. So this is after the flood, right? So Peleg, which means it just means division. And the name of his brother was named Joktan, right? And basically that whole lineage it goes all the way to Abraham and vice versa, right? When you go Genesis 11. But we're gonna look at the word Eber in the Hebrew. Ibar, the region beyond. It just means the pass of the path. That's what it basically means. Eber, across, aside, region. Right. That's why it's always good to go into the strong concordance, and as well as this too, the Ben Yehudi. Right, it goes more in depth. Cause the blue letter sometimes it goes off, but the middle, also known as the Jews in the Middle East, North Africa, who were also heavily influenced by the Sephardic law and custom. So there were Jews, all right, and as well as there were Jake that was practicing that whole Islam, or vice versa, right? And but there are a lot of Jews, right, throughout Spain and Portugal that during the mid 1300s, a lot of the Jews was being persecuted, all right, and they were known as the Marranos, right? They were being persecuted, and basically, the last more stronghold was 1492, Alhambra, by the Catholic monarch of Spain, right? When you had Pope Alexander VI of Rome, and then the Borgia family that basically came to power. But you had Jake, right, who was overseeing, who was basically overseers, and because it was the time for Esau to rise and come back to power, right? Because we were in power for over 1,000 years. So I'm gonna get it. Revelation 20:1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key to the bottomless pit, and a great chain in his hand. And he laid a hold on the dragon, or the bottomless pit, which been Europe, all right. And a great chain in his hand. So it's like basically like this is Yahweh Shai that who cast down the Roman Empire, and then Jake came to power. All right, but even though we were in power for 1,000 years, we were fighting against each other eventually. And then eventually Esau had to come to power because we were doing a lot of wickedness. You had the Vikings, the Danes, right? The Anglo-Saxons, and vice versa, right? All throughout Europe, Jake was in rulership. He laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which was the devil, right? So the serpent, right, was a serpent from the garden, right? And his seed, right, known as the Cain, or Esau, Edom, and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, and cast him down the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should see the nation no more till the 1,000 years be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a little season. So this was the little season that he's in. All right, and he's in rulership right now, but we're seeing that they are falling out of their power. All right, I will share this link in the description, right? Because this was Jake, right? Because Jake was killing a lot of the men, or they had basically they had the Edomites men as service as in a war, because when you read about this book known as the 13th tribe, I look it. Slovakia. The 13th tribe. It's still in stock. It's a very good book. If you haven't read this book, you could probably buy it as a PDF, or you could buy this book, which is affordable, $14 or less. You could buy it used. Right, very good book. Right, so these are some books that I'm just gonna be going into. I'm gonna if you wanna buy it, you could buy this book because this is basically Esau exposing himself. All right, because you Edomites, um, when you read about because the Khazars, they had the option to either choose that whole Christianity or to choose Islam, but they used Jake, the Jews, and they learned their way, their customs. And basically, 740 AD is when that whole Khazar, that whole Khazar Empire came to power. All right, um, because a lot of those Ashkenazi Jews, they were Jake throughout Eastern Europe, and then you had the Khazars who was under them. All right, and basically they interbred, and but you had the whole Khazar that started that whole Talmud worship and all that. You could read about the Khazars. This is their this is off of Wikipedia, right? Right, but Jake, because that whole region known as the Black Sea, right, and Jake was interbreeding, all right, just like how they are now. They're Jake in Eastern Europe. That's populating, that's breeding up these Edomite women. Right, so the word Marrano in the Edom line, Marrano also a Jew or more in Spain who, to avoid persecution, publicly prophesied conversion to Christianity, while private continued in practice and belief of the old religion. 15th century from Spanish, probably like a pig or swine. So the word Marrano means basically swine or runaway. All right, as expressing of contempt from Arabic, Maran, a forbidden thing. Eating pork is forbidden, also by a Muslim or Jewish religious law. All right, because you had the Moors that was into that whole Islam, but not all the Moors were into that whole Islam. A lot of them, they were Jews practicing their faith. Right, and that's why the Arabs say, "Oh, this is haram. You're haram," right? Which means like forbidden, right? Because a lot of the Moors they had a lot of harems, right? A lot of women that was being who was being conquered, that was being subject, right, onto the Moors, right? Part of the Middle Eastern house reserved harem for women, uh, Turkish harem, all right, and you know what last thing? Yeah, so this is Marrano, and a lot of a lot of the Moors, they came to the Americas, and because that's why a lot of our people established colonies here. All right, I'm gonna get it. Iberia. Um, the New Granada, right? Jake already established, colonies, and basically, what Jake basically did, Jake, because you had the 10 tribe that's already over here, right? That's when you get second Esdras 13 and 40. The tribe, the 13, the whole 10 tribes already here, but basically, what they did, a lot of the Moors came, and they set up shop, and they enslaved a lot of their like a lot of the brethren. All right, and basically that's how we end up falling, because that whole that whole slavery, it it was big, right? A lot of you had the Dutch West Indian Company, and you had Jake, the Moorish kings of of England and vice versa, that came to the New World, the 13 colonies, right? This is more for like seasoned brothers, right? Like you could do your own research at home, right? And because basically that's what happened. We end up falling and going right down. All right, and there's very good books. You had the Portuguese Jews of Jamaica, all right, because you had the actual Jews, Jake, that was in power, and then you had the Khazars as well, like who was trading, right? If I could find this thing, 1 second. I'll probably find it.
Truth and fact. Truth and fact.
So Slovakia. Uh, well, I'm just looking. I'm looking for a video I saw on TikTok. Very good video. Sure, it's a Jake. I'm gonna play this. Yeah, this is for educational purposes. But you can see this guy juiced in. He has the that sign, the via like a via a Pesi or whatever, the whole vagina worship, right? And you can see he's juiced in. But I'm gonna play this. This is for educational purposes. So let's go. Hopefully it doesn't echo. All right.
Secret societies exposed. Did you know that a lot of African American people are actually just American people? Yeah, just American people, indigenous American people, Native American people, Aboriginal American people, organic to the land American people. I'm going to tell you a little story. Once upon a time, long ago, long before any honkies, pale faces, or crackers existed on the planet Earth, dark-skinned, woolly-haired, heavily melanated beings inhabited every square inch of the planet Earth.
That was Jake, right? We had the ships, right? You had the Moors, and as well as basically they had these different orders, right? Of they're known as the Knights Templars, the Knights of Columbus and stuff, and basically they had ships. They were navigators, men of the sea, going all the way to the whole Phoenicians with Haram Abif, and there were Jakes that was mixed up with them, and there were traders. There were like masons, or like they were builders, and they were navigators, and so they were trading all throughout the world, right, for thousands of years, right? So that's good.
Long before the land masses even shifted. One more time. Dark-skinned, woolly-haired, heavily melanated beings inhabited every square inch of the planet Earth long before the continents even shifted. So in 1492, when Christopher Columbus and his Spanish conquistador buddies came over here under the Spanish Inquisition and the doctrine of discovery and discovered a land that had already been inhabited for millions of years, that had a highly developed, highly advanced civilization already here, they found highly melanated, woolly-haired, copper-complected people, the organic to the land, original people of the Americas, with a highly developed civilization. There's actually more pyramids on this side than there is on that side. In fact, the pyramids over here are older than the ones at Giza. The pyramids over here are older than the ones at Giza. You know what the original name for Mexico City is? Teotihuacan.
This is very in depth, right? Because you already had the Phoenician that was already navigators, men of the sea, and that had pyramids all over, right? And Jake was there too, right? But let's play this quick.
Tahuti, Wakan, Tahuti, Thoth, the Egyptian god, the pyramid of the sun, Quetzalcoatl. Societies exposed. I love you guys. Taught the Europeans how to build castles. Matter of fact, built some of the most glorious structures in Europe and ushered in what's commonly referred to as the Renaissance. That's right.
Like a book that I suggest brothers get called The Golden Age of the Moor by Ivan Sertima. Very good book. And there's another book that he made, African Presence in Early Europe, which we're not African, right? We're Hebrew Israelites, right? By Ivan Sertima. African Presence in Early Europe. Very good book. I'm going to play this. Let's go.
The Moors. But one thing we conveniently leave out of that equation is what else did the Moors bring with them to Europe? Good old-fashioned slavery and human trafficking. That's right, but this was a different type of chattel slavery and servitude and human trafficking. See, the Moors was big pimping, spending G's. Oh, they was pimping. Oh, they was doing some big pimping. That's right, because under Islamic law, slavery and human trafficking and sexual slavery and human trafficking is permissible. It's actually halal, according to the Sunnah and the Quran. That's right, it's actually halal, according to the Sunnah.
Which is Exodus, if I could get it. Exodus 20. The book of Exodus. Exodus 21. Sorry, Exodus 21. All right. The ordinances of the for the people. Now these are the judgments which thou shalt set before them. If thou buy a Hebrew servant 6 years, he shall serve, and in the 7th he shall go out free for nothing. So there were Jakes that were practicing the whole Torah, or as well as the Jake that was practicing that whole Torah worship, because Islam, they get their customs from the Torah, from the Bible, right? Because you know that Muhammad, he was actually he was known as basically he's known that he was just an agent of the state. Muhammad, he was just an agent of the state. He was a sheriff or sharif, right? So he was basically that's why his mother was a Jew as well as his father. But they established that whole Islam to subdue the Ishmaelites and vice versa. And if he come in by himself, he shall go out by himself, and and if he were married, then his wife shall go out with him, right? So our people are practicing that whole Torah, right? And it's gonna go back to that. And let's go.
Quran. I said it. I sure did. It's halal according to the Sunnah and Quran. Human trafficking and slavery and pimping is halal according to the Sunnah and the Quran.
So
that's
we're
right.
Not gonna be out there selling our women on the streets, right? We're gonna basically sell them as our slaves, our servants, right? Like when we establish our kingdom, right?
I said it. Look it up. I didn't make it up. Yep, they did a high level of pimping. And you know what them Moors liked? Oh, they liked them pink toes. They liked them pink toes so much they had a whole breeding program in their chattel, human trafficking, slavery, servitude, where they was literally breeding them pink toes. What do I mean by pink toes? Them white bitches, man. Them white bitches, man. But the problem is when you breed white bitches, you need white men too, right? So they basically priced themselves out of the game.
Right? I put it in my description box. And look in my on my community section. All right, this is basically like the cast cost, or like no, sorry, the whole costas, right? With the whole casting system, which was set up by the Moors, right? So this is like throughout the Americas, right? They had like Latin tribe breeding up, right? Because the Moors had a lot more knowledge, right? And this is the Olmecs, and as well as this whole Jakes, that's who were navigators, men of the sea, right? But this is, I put this there, Haram Abif, First Kings 10:21 to 23. You can read it yourself, right? Right, cause Jake, we had the Dutch West Indian Company, which were Sephardic Jews, all right, and the Royal African Company, right, by the Stuart family, right, of you know, Slovakia. So eventually we fell. But if I could find this, yeah, this is the Iberian Peninsula, right? We had Moors, we had harems, right? That the Moors had you know, fresh water, hot water, right? They built these major cities, man, and we had these Edomites under our foot for over 1,000 years, right? So this is another one. This is like more selling a slave, selling slaves, right? We had ships, right? The Moors had their the fire sticks. Read about the Golden Age of Moor. That's a very good book, right? They also had synagogues or a mosque, right? This one's known as the Jubilee Synagogue. Jubilee Synagogue. If you read about your, this is Russia. You know, we were on a high level, man. This is a Moorish woman that is teaching these women how to bathe, because a lot of those Khazar women, right, a lot of them, they were into that whole a lot of them, they were pretty much in a cave like state, right? I'm gonna get Job 30, right? I post a couple of stuff in my description box, but yeah, man, the Moors were on a high frequency, man. This is another Moorish harem, right? And this was the whole, yeah, like this is an actual photo in the mid 1800s, right? This is North Africa, right? They had harems, you know, and let's play this. I'm gonna get Job 30.
Because the white men controlled the breeding of the white bitches. You feel me? Them pink tops. Real big pimping, man. They was running real big pimping. See, they brought a couple other things with them, too. Babylonian blood magic. Babylonian sex magic. Babylonian money
It's
magic.
the same thing what they're doing. They have our people doing that. You know, to be a part of the society, you have to do a lot of wickedness and a lot of dark, spooky, evil things, right? And like this is what they do. Like that's why these small hats, they run the whole pornography industry, right? And they're making billions or trillions of dollars every year from that whole industry, man. And like that's why you have our men and women that's out who are into that whole porn, who's into that whole porn or the human trafficking, right? No, so these people are nothing but warlocks, and our people has joined onto these heathen, right? So let's play this.
See, they like to leave that part out. You know, the Kabbalah part, the magic part, the demonology part, and all that other game they was running all up and down that Iberian Peninsula.
Yeah,
See, we conveniently leave.
Means Hebrew, right? So we were in that, North Africa, and as well as Spain and Portugal, right? There's another good book known as Nature Knows No Color Line by J.A. Rogers. He was a Jamaican. And basically, he was a historian in the whole early 1900s. And he has a great information. And also Golden Age of the Moor by Ivan Serma. I believe he's Guyanese. Very good historian, right? Rudolph R. Windsor, very good. There's another book known by Cecil Roth, Cecil Roth, Roth, A History of the Marranos. Very good book as well. Let's play this.
Some of that stuff out. That's why they got kicked out of Europe in 1492. The Reconquista, right? That's when Isabella and Ferdinand defeated the Moors at Granada in 1492 and kicked them out for all that slavery and human trafficking and black magic that they were doing in Europe.
That's what our people are still doing the same thing, right? And basically, like that's why the Moors or throughout 1492, known as the last stronghold of Granada, they basically left, and some of them went to North Africa. Some of them came to the Americas, right, and established themselves.
That's right. That's why they got kicked out of Europe 1492. Now the next question is, where did they go? Where did they go? Secret societies exposed.
That's a very good thing. Someone did Job 30. Job 30:1. Behold, now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs on my flock. So this is when Esau fell, right? And the Moors, or Jake, they came back to power, right? You have Constantine the Great, right? Which he was a pagan worshiper that basically established these churches and started that whole Sunday worship and that whole Christianity, right? And that's how like they ran basically that's how they ran the world for over 1,000 years. Yea, where too might the strength of their hands profit me, in whom all ages perish. For want and famine they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness, in former time desolate and waste. So this was Esau, man. He was that's why they show you these things in you watch that movie like the Flintstones, right? They were they kind of expose who they are, right? And and like the Flintstones are bedrock, right? Like you guys were in a damn in a cave state, man, right? And you guys, you guys didn't know nothing about bathing, proper hygiene, right? You devils went into a whole cave like state, and the Moors actually cleaned up a lot of your men and women, right? And civilized you, who's cut up mouths by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat. They were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as after a thief. So this is the Moors that who drove you guys out, and you were driven up into the Caucasus Mountains to dwell in the cliffs of the valley, in the caves of the earth, and in the rocks. Among the bushes they brayed, under the nettles they were gathered together. So they weren't even able to speak. They were they just knew moo. It's like they couldn't even speak a proper language, man. Right? So we cleaned their ass up, literally. They were children of fools, children of base men. They were viler than the earth, and in whom am I now their song and their byword, right? So they abhor me. They flee far from me and spare not to spit in my face. So this is what they do, man. They always look down on us. They always try to they always try to critique us, right? But this is pretty much it. So this is Sephardic Jews. I put Sephardic, Marrano, and the Iberian Jews. It's the same thing, right? Jake, we were Sephardic Jews, and there was also a lot of the men, right, that populated and bred up a lot of the white women, the Ishmaelite women. So a lot of our people, they're gonna look Arabic, right? But so that's like, this is not a color thing. This is a spiritual thing. that the Heavenly Father knows who's who, and the Lord, like when the Lord, basically like once the kingdom is established, we're gonna have our poles, we're gonna have our coat of arms, we're gonna know that okay, you're of this stock, you're of this family, right? But so with that, let's all praise due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Akakwadash, double honors the apostle of great millstone, peace and blessing to the elect. Shalom.